another chain. You know I got vices. South side with my queen, whip clean, spread my wings. But they ain't gon' like it. When Tide signed with the Vikings, the price on the bundle was spiking. Covered and strapped, I'm guided. There's not a weapon formed. A metal face meets corrupt. Tell me how does God mourn? Still can't.
All right, you guys, I'm back in the building. It's been a minute since I did a video, but I'm back. Definitely want to bring something good to you on today. And sometimes you got to pay homage to the guys that paved the way for other guys. And two guys that was my favorite corners in the NFL, Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, and Charles Woodson. Now, I know what a lot of you guys are going to say. A lot of you guys are going to say Coach Prime is the GOAT. He's number one all time as the corner spot. And rightfully so, because Coach Prime is my guy. And definitely he was a baller when he played. He played at a high level, and the dude was a nightmare. When it came to throwing over on to Coach Prime's side, a lot of quarterbacks never really targeted him as much because they were fearful of him picking it off and taking it back to the house. Charles Woodson, a different type of animal. Charles Woodson not only definitely needs to be in the GOAT conversation. If you want to talk about each one of these guys' collegiate careers, you want to talk about Coach Prime and how he won the Jim Thorpe and things of that nature in college football. And then if you want to talk about how Charles Woodson is the only defensive player to ever win the Heisman, then we got a great argument. It's for a debate. I know a lot of people like to debate about LeBron James and Michael Jordan, but I think that Charles Woodson and Coach Prime is a good debate. I definitely think that by the stats and just looking at their stats, Charles Woodson is one of the greatest cornerbacks that ever played the game. And I know a lot of people don't look at him that way because they always got Coach Prime as number one. But I got an argument on that. And both of these guys are my favorite corners all time. And if you want to throw Champ Bailey in there for honorable mention, then you definitely could do that because Champ Bailey has 12 All-Pros. No other corner has ever done that before. 12 All-Pro selections. He's in one season, I believe he had like 10 interceptions. He has a career total of 931 tackles, 42 tackles for loss, 203 PDs. So you can throw Champ Bailey in there for honorable mention. But the body of work that Charles Woodson put in while he was in the National Football League definitely got something to say about him. We're going to talk about his stats as well as Coach Prime's stats. Coach Prime has a career of 296 tackles, 1 sack, 5 forced fumbles, 53 interceptions in his career, to go along with 94 PDs, to go along with 3 tackles for loss. This is what Coach Prime did as a corner. I'm not talking about him playing on the offensive side of the ball and being a wide receiver with Dallas using him as a wide receiver. Because I believe that Charles Woodson got an opportunity to play a little wide receiver as well. Both of these guys are definitely, my favorites. And I definitely think that Charles Woodson deserves to be in a conversation with Coach Prime as one of the best corners all time. Now, when you look in the NFL and you look how they rated Charles Woodson, they pretty much got him like 4 or 5 corner all time. But to me, the body of work is proven by Charles Woodson that he definitely deserves to be in the GOAT conversation. Charles Woodson, let's talk about what he was able to do in his NFL career. We're not even talking about him winning a Heisman in college. NFL. He played 18 seasons in the NFL. I think Coach Prime played 14 or 15 seasons in the NFL. Charles Woodson played for the LA Raiders, or you want to call them the Oakland Raiders. He played for them, and he also played for Green Bay Packers. Deion Sanders played for a couple teams. He played for the Atlanta Falcons, San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, Washington Redskins, and I believe he played for Baltimore Ravens as well. So that's what I do know and I can remember. But Charles Woodson played in the league for 18 seasons, and I think Coach Prime anywhere between 14 and 15 seasons. And Charles Woodson has over 1,220 career tackles. So that's definitely just letting you know that Charles Woodson not only was a playmaker, he would come up and make tackles too as well. And I'm not saying that Coach Prime can't tackle, because he can. I'm just saying that if you look at the stats, Charles Woodson body of work proves that he's probably should be deserved to be talked about in the GOAT conversation. 54 career tackles for loss. Charles Woodson is the first NFL corner in the league to have 50 plus interceptions to go along with 20 sacks. Yeah, you heard it. Let me say it again. Charles Woodson had 20 sacks in his career at the corner position. If you want to say safety, whatever, because he played safety, I think in his last couple seasons, he played safety. No other corner was able to do anything that Charles Woodson was able to do when it comes to being able to go in and get to the quarterback on corner blitzes. Charles Woodson perfected that. First NFL player in history to be able to do that. Not only that, Coach Prime has 53 interceptions, but Charles Woodson has 65. 65 interceptions in his career. And I think that's that might be like fifth, because I know I could put Rob Woodson in it as well. Rob Woodson probably would lead these guys. I think Rob Woodson got like 71 career interceptions. But his body of work, even though Rob Woodson played corner and safety just like Charles Woodson did, Rod Woodson was picking him off like crazy. So he does have 71 career interceptions, but Charles Woodson overall body of work is crazy. Also, I think he's like second all time when it comes to having pick sixes to the house. I believe he got like 11 career touchdowns on defense. Charles Woodson is a dog. And I just got to let you guys know that he deserves to be in the conversation with Coach Prime. Coach Prime definitely, a lot of people are going to say, man, you crazy. You don't know what you're talking about. Coach Prime used to shut his side of the field down. But if you go look how good Charles Woodson was, Charles Woodson, you couldn't throw to his side either. Charles Woodson was a dog. You could not throw to Charles Woodson's side, because he would pick it off and he would take it to the house just like Coach Prime would. Not only that, Charles Woodson also has 33 forced fumbles in his career. That's more than Champ Bailey. That's more than Deion Sanders. That's more than any other corner. Also, Champ Bailey has him by 1 PD. Charles Woodson has 202. Champ Bailey has 203. Champ Bailey does have 12 All-Pro selections, and that's beautiful. No other corner has ever been able to do that. But if you look at the totality of the body of work that Charles Woodson has put in the National Football League, playing 18 years in the league, and I think Champ Bailey made a play like 15. But Champ Bailey does have 10 interceptions in his career in one season, and I think Charles Woodson has 9. That's the highest he ever had, and I think Coach Prime, the highest he ever had was like 7 or 8, the highest in one season. But when you look at the body of work and what Charles Woodson was able to do, not only from college, winning the Heisman, which no defensive player has ever done that. Not even Coach Prime has ever done that. I think Charles Woodson deserves some respect on his name and deserves to be in the conversation amongst the greats when it comes to being one of the best corners all time. And I definitely think that he deserved to be up there with Coach Prime as one of the GOATs of the corners. He definitely deserves that. When it came to making plays, Charles Woodson was a flat-out playmaker. When it came for the bright lights, now, even though I think Coach Prime got 2 championships in the NFL, and he has that over Charles Woodson. He has 2, I think he has a championship with Dallas, and he has one with San Francisco. Charles Woodson only had 1, which he only had with the Green Bay Packers. But I'm telling you guys, he deserves to be in the conversation with Coach Prime as being the greatest all-time corner in the National Football League. Now, I do believe that Coach Prime does have 1 or 2 All-Pros over Charles Woodson, even though Charles Woodson did play longer. Both of these guys are Hall of Famers. Both of these guys are great corners. Both of these guys are my 2 favorite corners all time, along with Champ Bailey. I do love Champ Bailey as well. Champ Bailey doesn't get talked about a lot, but definitely he was a baller as well. And Rod Woodson was a baller as well, too. So definitely got to give the flowers to those guys and put them into consideration. But when you look at what Charles Woodson did as a player, man, he was a playmaker. Charles Woodson was a straight-up baller, man. And I used to be thinking about, like, man, who is really the better corner? Is it Coach Deion, who is known as Coach Prime? Or is it Charles Woodson? Because Charles Woodson was a flat-out baller. And a lot of people don't talk about Charles Woodson in this way. But this dude, if you look at his body of work and you look at Coach Prime's body of work, I'm telling you guys, Charles Woodson's, statistically, his stats are better than Coach Prime's. Even though Coach Prime was a lockdown guy, was shut down inside, the same thing Charles Woodson could do, locked down inside. People was afraid to throw that way because he would pick it off and take it to the house. Charles Woodson deserves to be in the conversation as one of the career GOATs at the cornerback position. I know that they got Coach Prime number 1, but I do believe that Charles Woodson is right there with him. I do believe that Charles Woodson was that good. Never have any other defensive player won a Heisman. Never. And Charles Woodson was able to do that. So leave it in the comment section, guys, on Charles Woodson and Coach Prime.
Another chain, you know I got vices. South side with my queen, whip clean, spread my wings. But they ain't gon' like it. When Tide signed with the Vikings, the price on the bundle was spiking. Covered and strapped, I'm guided. That's not a weapon formed, I'm metal. Face meets cool.